Hey guys, welcome back to Read Instead. I'm Jake. Glad to have you here today. Another one of my immediate reactions today to the book The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie. Stick around. Okay, so 2 Joe Abercrombie videos in a row. Last video that I made was in regards to the original First Law trilogy that if you guys check that video out, 2 out of the 3 of those books were 5-star books for me. Really, the series as a whole, the trilogy, is one of my favorite fantasy trilogies for sure. There are 3 standalone books after that, and then there was another trilogy totaling 9 books in this world. When I say this world, the world that Joe Abercrombie has created, I believe they call it the Circle of the Worlds. There is a, maybe I can find a map to throw on here right now, we'll see. But there's sort of a center continent called Adua, and that's, if you guys remember from the last video I talked to you about, that's where the Union, that's sort of the base, that's their home base, the Union, and the power of the Union, sort of the country, stretches out pretty far into the circle of the world. There is a southern section, there's a northern section, and they sort of have certainly distinct geographical characteristics, and they have distinct people also. So this book is unique. It's different from any other Joe Abercrombie book that I've read. This book is about a battle. It's about the Union heading north to sort of protect its borders, and you see that specific thing sort of done a lot throughout all the books that I've read from Joe Abercrombie. The Union sort of going out into the world and fighting battles really as a defensive mechanism to maintain their borders and maintain their sort of their far-reaching power, right? This is like that. It takes place in the north. The Heroes, that title, I'll tell you where it comes from. Where the Northern Army meets the Union Army is in this big field, this big area. And there was a hill, sort of a mountain, in this area that is a very important sort of military strategic place to hold in the battle. And on top of this hill is our monuments, almost like gravestones of fallen soldiers and heroes, warriors that have died in the past. And it sort of alludes to the fact that it might hold some sort of power from the other side or something like that. But that's where the title The Heroes comes from. But also throughout this novel, there is sort of an overlying principle of what it means, what makes a man a hero, to be called that. What actions does he need to take in life? What kind of courage does he need to have? Can you become a hero accidentally? Are some people really heroes but nobody knows about it? These are sort of like questions that are sort of come up all throughout this novel. Let's get into the meat of the story. Okay, so first of all, I thought it was pretty cool. There were some characters that I remember from the original trilogy that are in this novel again, and it was cool sort of meeting them again. I haven't spent any time with them in quite a long time. I read the original trilogy quite some time ago, but if you remember from my last video, the head of the Magi, Lord Baez, the wizard, plays a pretty prominent role in this book. There was also a character in the original trilogy by the name of Gorst, and he was a fencing knight he doesn't play a huge role, but he is in those novels, and he is sort of, I would say, almost like a main character in this book. So it's really cool how Joe Abercrombie sort of from one novel to the next, you can have a character that's very sort of in the background, and easily you would easily forget about this character, and then in the next novel they can play a very sort of main role. I think that's pretty cool. But this story in the heroes here is just a battle over a period, I believe, of 4 days, and then there's maybe a couple extra days after that. That sort of is the effects, the after effects of the battle, and what kind of terms and agreements the two armies come to. But that's what this entire book is. It's just 4 days, and each part, and it's broken up into parts, and each part will say, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. As Joe Abercrombie does so well, he has unique characters from both sides, the North and the Union. As a reader, you don't really. It's interesting. There's not a. It's not black and white in the sense that, like, this is the good army and this is the evil army, and it's good forces against evil forces. It's not like that at all. It's very gray all over, and every sort of character, there's no completely, genuinely, morally good character, and on the flip side, there's no, maybe completely evil character, which is very enjoyable to read. It's almost, you're not really rooting for one side. I would say, as a reader, for me, and I mentioned this to you guys before, that Joe Abercrombie writes from point of view. Every chapter is through a character's point of view. You do sort of develop a longing to get back to particular characters that you enjoy reading from that point of view. But all in all, you're not really rooting for one sort of army to win. You're rooting for the Union. You're not really rooting for the North. You're kind of just waiting to see how it unfolds. One of the characters that really stuck out to me in this, I'll just mention this one character. His name is Prince Calder, and he's briefly mentioned in the original trilogy, if I remember correctly. He didn't play a huge role, but he was the second son of the King of the North. His name, the king's name was Bethod, and spoiler alert, cover your ears if you're gonna read the original trilogy, but King Bethod ends up dying in the original trilogy, and the North is kind of left wide open for who's gonna take power. Anyway, King Bethod had two sons, one named Scale and the other one named Calder, Prince Scale and Prince Calder. One is a complete brute warrior that never thinks of anything else but fighting, and he loves war, he loves battle, and he wants to be the absolute opposite of a coward. And then Prince Calder is the opposite of that. It was almost like one brother completely took after their mother, and the other one completely took after their dad. But Prince Calder is anti-war. He has no interest in getting into any conflict. He doesn't even enjoy holding a sword, anything like that. But he is an extreme wit, and he has just the sharpest tongue. He's smart too, and he knows how to sort of wield his mind, and his he knows how to turn people against one another. And I was just really, that was my favorite storyline in this. There are probably, I want to say, maybe six or seven point of view characters that Joe Abercrombie writes through in this book. And all in all, I thought this was really enjoyable. I'm going to give it 4 stars. To be honest with you, it's probably like out of this would be the 5th Joe Abercrombie book that I've read. It would probably come in 5th place, to be honest with you. But that's, it was still an enjoyable read. The last standalone book called Best Served Cold, which actually they're making a movie of. I don't know if it's in sort of what stage of production it's in right now, but it should be coming out maybe next year. I'm not sure, but That standalone novel was really good, and then of course the original trilogy is one of my favorites, as I mentioned. So, still very enjoyable. The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie. Too much violence for me this month. Every book that I've read this month, the Michael Conley book, The Last Coyote, was that was centered around solving a gruesome murder. And then The Cartel by Don Winslow. Forget about it. That was very, very tragic and bloody book. And then Joe Abercrombie doesn't shy away from the violence either, at all. So I need to get into something that where there's no internal organs and guts spilling out onto the ground. You know what I mean? So, and then next month I'll probably stick with that. September I'm gonna try to make sort of a wholesome month and sort of read some. There's a book that I want to read called The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, and a couple other maybe sort of just drama books, I would call them, drama romance maybe. So that's my plans going forward. You guys let me know what you're reading in the comments. Let me know what you want to read. Till next time, take care.